Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. And today I wanted to go over what should you spend your coins on if you, say, have a bunch on hand, you bought packs, or you just saved them up, whatever. What are some of the most important things to invest in, and should you upgrade said items, and what type of weapons you should spend your money on? Maybe some suggestions for that. Yeah, before we get into the video, don't forget I do have a Patreon page. If you guys would like to support the channel, you can by donating. Also, I have a poll over there. Doesn't cost any money or anything. I have a poll on there up with you can vote to you can vote for whatever game you would like to see in the future. I have 4 or 5 games on that poll. You can go vote for it. All you need to do is have a Patreon account. And again, it doesn't cost any money. So I will put the link for that into the description. And you guys can go check that out. I'm going to have that poll up for probably about a week. And then I'll take the results from that. Anyway, now on to the video. So what should you spend your hard-earned coin on? Or if you bought packs and sold a bunch of the stuff in the packs, what should you spend your coins on? So first thing I would recommend is get 1 or 2 super solid cabins, purple cabins, that will benefit whatever playstyle you plan on playing, whatever weapons you plan on using. Like, for example, if you're going to use machine guns or shotguns, you know, something that has a pretty high spread, I would definitely recommend the Torero cabin or the favorite cabin if you want to, you know, help with the heating. But yeah, so some of the more important things, I would definitely suggest a generator, just whatever you need. Maybe have one of each. That's what I like to do a lot of times. I don't have the Apollo right now, but that's what I personally suggest, is just have a blue, a light blue, a purple, and then the Apollo. That way you have a generator for like every situation or every build that you can make. Engines are pretty much a must-have in this game. It helps you out, especially if you're running a light cabin or you're running a heavy cabin or just need extra speed, extra tonnage, extra mass limit, whatever. It's going to help you regardless, depending on your needs. And I highly recommend having the Omamori. It's a really solid module. It's a legendary that doesn't have a whole lot of, like, it doesn't have high power score, and it's like really good to have. I mean, if you have a couple of cannons or something that keep falling off too easy or just whatever, you can mount them to this and it'll help out a lot. Another thing I find to be a necessity if you're going to be using items that reload, like cannons, the avalanche, the Yaoguais, anything that has a reload, not a cooldown, I would highly recommend the flywheel. It's a little pricey, but it's well worth it. And ammo packs also for stuff like that, because you usually, with reloading weapons, you do have a limited ammo capacity. So you want to make sure you have enough ammo on hand. Now, depending on the weapon, will depend on the type of ammo increase module you're going to need. So, like, for example, like the cannons, the avalanche, those are going to use ammo packs. But something like the Yaoguai or other drones, those are going to use the, I can't remember the name of it, Micro Factory module. And so there's a little bit of a difference there, but like the flywheel, that'll work for like all 3 of these or any other reloading type weapons. And on the opposite of that, if you're using something like machine guns, autocannons, shotguns, miniguns, you're going to want to have coolers or radiators or a mixture of both. I personally just go based on what weapon I have and how long it really takes for it to cool down. But like, for example, like on my minigun builds, I like to have 2 radiators, and depending on how high my power score is, I'll use either blue ones that are upgraded or purple ones that are upgraded. And the shiver is really nice to have. It gives you a super solid cooldown of 103%. Now, there is a huge difference between the blues and the purples. In terms of power score, you can see it's much higher on the purple than it is the blues. And so you have to kind of weigh that out. If you're trying to keep your power score down, you might want to go for blues. But if power score isn't really an issue for you and you just want the max cooling and max overheating, then you definitely want to have purple. But that's completely up to you. Chameleons are kind of situational. It depends on what kind of build you have and if you choose to be sneaky or not. Then I would definitely recommend a chameleon. But that's completely up to you and your play style. Now, I found that if you want to keep your power score down a little bit, not that it makes a huge difference between the blue and the purple, or light blue and the purple, but what I found is that the light blue chameleon actually isn't too bad if you upgrade it for active time, which I think might be a guaranteed upgrade. No, it's not. Okay. But if you upgrade it for active time and lower mass limit or resistance to damage, that would be ideal. Those are really good upgrades for this, and it actually lasts, almost as long as the default Chameleon Mark II, which is really nice because then you have less weight and you can mount it a little bit easier and stuff like that. And another thing I would recommend is get some wheels. It doesn't matter if they're purple, blue, whatever. Get some wheels for yourself, like just some that you would like. If you don't want to spend a ton on wheels, I would recommend either the twin wheels or the APC wheels. Those are always really good choices. If you want good tonnage, or I should say pretty decent tonnage, but don't want the weight of the twin wheel STs or the normal twin wheels, I would say go for the APC wheels because they are like half the weight and they give almost as much tonnage. And they're just a smaller profile too, so they don't stick out as far. They're a little bit easier to work around in terms of armor if you want to put like spaced armor and stuff like that. So yeah, and then I guess that pretty much covers all of the necessities. But if you want a gas tank or a fuel tank to earn fuel, you could always buy that too. Those are pretty cheap. Remember, you can only have one white and one blue one. They do not stack. So what should you buy in terms of weapons? Let's start with legendary, because if you got a bunch of gold on hand, you might be interested in legendary. And there's some pretty solid choices for legendaries. And so we'll go over the ones I recommend. Retcher being on the top. Super popular, especially for raids. So if you do a lot of raids, the Retcher is really good for those. If you keep them away from your cabin or, just somewhere where they're not going to get shut off very easily, because they only have 200 durability. But a lot of people use these for raids, and they just hit hard. They do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. And so, yeah, these are a super solid option. They're not too bad in PvP, depending on what kind of build you have. I would say a dog build would be best for these. But if you just have them kind of out in the open, they will get blown off pretty easily, especially by snipers. So keep that in mind. Obviously, the MG14 Arbiter is a super solid choice. It shoots really fast. It's got really good perk. And if you upgrade these for damage, oh, that's another thing we need to go over too, is upgrading. I totally forgot about that. We'll go over that in a minute. If you upgrade these for damage and then You also get the 150% bonus while shooting. I mean, they're really strong. I mean, even without upgrading them, they're really strong. And they're only 1200 power score compared to a lot of other legendaries. That's not really that bad at all. Shoot, even compared to some epics. Some epics are almost 1400 power scores. So, I mean, not bad at all. But you could run like 4 of these and be at like 10k, 11k power score, something like that, with like 2 radiators and a cooler, and these will be super solid. They'll shoot for a long time, they'll cool down fast, you get back to shooting real quick. Yeah. The Cyclones, I don't know, they used to be good. I haven't used them in a while. They seem okay, but I feel like those need a buff. Now, if you want something that explodes, that does a lot of damage, just like really heavy damage, the Fortunes are really good. A lot of people still use these. They're one of the legendaries that have been around for a long time that have never really been bad or never really been like less powerful than anything else. I mean, they're just super solid. You can run even 2 of these. You don't even have to run 5, but if you run 2 of these with like a flywheel, they're super strong. I mean, their damage is good. They reload quick. Super solid choice. I mean, that would probably be my #1 choice if I were to recommend any legendary overall. I would definitely say the Fortunes are going to be where it's at. If you want shotguns, there's the Hammerfalls. I don't really like them. They're not completely terrible, but they're not great either. In my opinion, there's better options, but yeah. If you want a fire weapon, the Draco's really good, or Draco, however you want to call it. The Draco's really good. You can run like 3 of these or 2 of these in a remedy, and they're pretty strong. Run them with the Blight Cabin. There you go. You got a really gnarly build. The Avalanche, of course, is really good. Not much to say about that. I'm sure everybody knows what that is. Reapers, I wouldn't recommend the Reapers to anybody. They're not good. They haven't been good in a long time. The Destructors are pretty good. Run these with the Photon Cabin. Have like 3 of these in the Photon Cabin and maybe a reload module. And they do some decent damage, as long as you stay on target. The Kaiju's pretty good if you want to snipe. If that's your playstyle, you want to sit back and snipe. It has a really good durability and pretty good damage. I mean, it can rip through enemies' armor. It can rip off weapons real easy if you're accurate. And yeah, so I mean, I would highly recommend this if you're a sniper. Just take into account you can only have one, and it's 4,800 power score. So yeah, got to work around that. The imps are pretty good. For if you want like just a normal machine gun, these are pretty good. And again, like the arbiters, they're pretty low power score, so you can run, 4 of these or 5 of these with a radiator, and you may want 2 radiators, so you might only want to run 4 imps, but they're pretty good. I tried them out a while back with 2 radiators and 4 of these, and they at close range, because you really have to get up close. But as long as you can prevent them from getting shot off right away, at close range, they do a lot of damage, and their perk is pretty good as well. For cannons, I would recommend the Mammoth instead of the Tsunami. Just overall, it's going to do more damage, and the perk is really good. It stacks 20% up to 3 times over for 10 seconds for each direct hit you get. So it's just really strong, and it has a lot of durability, so I would recommend these. If you want to help support your team and you want to slow people down, or you just want to be a troll, the Sparks are pretty good. You can mix them with other stuff. You can mix them with a lot of different things, actually, so there's that. And the Nidhogg's are where my favoritism lies over the legendary shotguns. I just feel like these are the best shotgun in Legendary rarity, and they do the most damage overall. It's easy to rip off weapons with them, and if you in the future want to get like a Jormungandr, then you can mix like 2 or 3 Nidhogg's with a Jormungandr, and it's a lot of damage. They're so good, and even if you just run 3 of these by themselves without the Jormungandr, it's still pretty solid damage. And if you had a reload module on top of it mixed with the Hadron cabin, your reload will be really good, really good. That's how I run mine, and it's just they shoot really fast compared to the base reload. In terms of all this other stuff, though, I can't say I'd really recommend a whole lot. I know they recently buffed the bolts. The rockets shoot quicker, and they did something else to them too. I can't remember. But the rockets projectile speed is quicker. That's what I meant. If you want to sit back, you can always use the Mandrake. They did buff this recently too. The spread isn't as bad. And yeah, I don't know. They just seem better now. So in terms of upgrading, what should you upgrade? I would say upgrade your cabins. Whatever cabins you have, try and upgrade them. Or I always try to go for mass limit and reduced mass. It's just really good to have that. Cabin power isn't too bad either, but I would save the cabin power more for like light cabins. But I would definitely upgrade your cabins. I would upgrade any weapons that you have that you plan on keeping for a long time or forever. Go ahead and upgrade those. Upgrade your ammo packs. The flywheel, I don't really know if it's worth upgrading. I mean, not really, unless you want reduced mass or damage resistance. Other than that, I wouldn't say. I would say not worry about that. You can upgrade your engines. You get extra bonuses to like your power, weight limit, speed, stuff like that. So it's super nice to have that, especially on the purple engines. And radiators and coolers, definitely want to upgrade those. They help out a lot more when they're upgraded, even if they're the blue ones. Definitely upgrade those. In terms of the Chameleon, I think the Mark II, when you upgrade that, I don't think it has, for one of the options for the upgrades, I don't think it adds bonus time or active time on it like the regular Chameleon here does. But if you have the regular Chameleon, I would say, yeah, go ahead, upgrade it, try and get active time and mass limit reduction. And I would say that if you can, go ahead and upgrade your wheels too. That can help, especially if you have a heavier wheel. Try and get mass reduction and tonnage. And I mean, that helps out a lot, especially with the heavier wheels. Otherwise, just try and aim for the tonnage, because, I mean, it can be really helpful. Power penalty reduction can help too, but I feel like the tonnage increase is probably better depending on what you upgrade or what wheel you're upgrading. But yeah, so I think that's going to pretty much do it for now, guys. So there is some suggestions on what to spend your coins on and what you should upgrade and stuff like that. I hope this was informative for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. This is Anubis Tech and Games, and I'll catch you on the next one.